Donald Trump speaking out today on his efforts to subvert the results of the 2020 election, claiming the idea was all his.
You called some of your outside lawyers. You said they had crazy theories. Why were you listening to them? Were you listening to them because they were telling you what you wanted to hear?
You know who I listened to myself? I saw what happened. I watched that election, and I thought the election was over at 10 o'clock in the evening.
Were you calling the shots, though, Mr. President, ultimately?
As to whether or not I believed it was rigged, oh, sure. It was my decision.
It was my decision, he says. Let's discuss more now with Democratic Congressman of California, Adam Schiff. He's a former member of the January 6th Select Committee, and he currently serves on the House Judiciary Committee. I hope I have all that right. Congressman Schiff, great to see you as always. We appreciate it. First, your reaction to what you heard the former president say just a little while ago on Meet the Press. It was his decision to try to overturn the 2020 election results. It sounds like he's taking full ownership here.
It sounds like he is. I think this is probably, music to the ears of the special prosecutor, watching these interviews, compiling further evidence to present against the president. It's probably also good news for the prosecutors in Georgia. Here he is taking responsibility, saying it was his decision, essentially, that he was ignoring the lawyers who were saying, the respected lawyers who were saying things that he didn't want to hear, and going with the crazies because it affirmed what he wanted to believe.
And his taking responsibility for his actions, I guess it stops there with that previous comment. Let's listen to what he had to say about how he responded to what took place on January 6th.
I want to know who you called
By the way,
on that day.
Nancy Pelosi.
Why
would I tell you that? Listen, Nancy Pelosi
that?
was in charge of security. She turned down 10,000 soldiers. If she didn't turn down the soldiers, you wouldn't have had January 6th.
Did you call military or law enforcement?
What?
Did you call military or law enforcement at the moment the Capitol was under attack?
I'm not going to tell you anything. Let me put it this way. I behaved so well. I did such a good job.
Congressman, you were on the January 6th committee. What do you make of Trump blaming former Speaker Nancy Pelosi for the insurrection at the Capitol? Your thoughts?
Well, I thought that was one of the most telling exchanges of the interview, because he won't say who he called, because he called no one to put an end to this. That's the painful reality of it. And he sat there for hours watching the Capitol be attacked. He sat there in the comfort and security of the White House dining room and watched that mayhem unfold. People came in to urge him to do something, to say something, and he rebuffed them. No wonder he doesn't want to answer the question. But the proof speaks louder than his lack of words. And for him to try to blame Nancy Pelosi, blame someone who was the target of that mob violence, is also typical of Trump. He does nothing but project onto others his own lack of action, lack of morality. But it doesn't fool anyone. And I think the dereliction of duty by Donald Trump during those hours is an indictment itself of the former president.